the 24th Gladiator podcast. I'm your host, Marcy, and I'm joined by my esteemed co host, Tapchi. This is the second episode of our engaging series. Today, we are honored to welcome our special guest, General Beast of the 24th Gladiator Legion. In today's episode, we will be discussing General Beast's personal background, the Gladiator Legion, and his vision for the future of the server. Now, Beast, could you? We're just gonna go around the table and give some introductions about ourselves. Obviously, I'm Warrant Officer or Chief Warrant Officer 3 Mercy, Tapchi.
I think last time I was on here, I was a Master Sergeant. I'm now the Command Sergeant Major. I oversee all the NCOs and make sure they're doing their job and help them with anything they need help with.
And Mr.
Awesome.
Beast.
Yeah. So I am General Beast. The one I see of the 24th Gladiators, and I oversee our strategy command team and make sure that we execute our vision for the future.
Okay. Um, right now we're going to get into General Beast's kind of personal background and how you personally got your leadership skills with your real life experience. So could you expand on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my leadership experience has started when I was a kid. I was 15, 16 years old. I was the oldest sibling of four, and I
Wow.
grew up with a single mom, and you know, kind of had to step up when I got into my teenage years and help raise them a little bit, and it a little bit drove me away when I became 18. I went away college, and I went as far away as possible,
Hmm.
from my home, and I just kind of want to run away a little bit. And then came back and decided I was going to work on my career, and I didn't go back to school until I was much older. But I worked in various career paths, and had opportunities when I was really young to start my management career, and I learned about people management, and then I went into organizational management. And throughout my career, I've had some really good mentors, some people who I've really looked up to and have helped train me to be a good leader too. To this day, some people I still talk to on a monthly basis, and I decided that I was gonna get into youth leadership and development when I was about
Hmm.
21, 22 years old, and you know never really looked back. It's something I was always passionate about and went forward with, and had opportunities of working at some really, really great places that helped me sharpen those skills and teach me more about myself as a leader, as well as how to develop the future leaders of tomorrow.
Wow. That's so it seems that you have a very extensive personal background with dealing with leadership and just people in general. So,
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna ask you one more question before Top G asks you one. What specifically do you think is your best characteristic for managing the service? Either your leadership, your organization, or just your general demeanor and being able to, make people feel, I want to say, comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. So I believe that every interaction with people, has the greatest impact, right? Whether you're a general or you're private, whether you're the janitor or you're the CEO, right? It how you treat people and how you come across the people is extremely important, right? And one thing that I've adopted when I was young in my career was, I don't care if you're the CEO, I don't care if you're the janitor, I'm gonna shake your hand, I'm gonna introduce myself, and I'm want to make sure that if you need something, let you know I'm here to help you. As far as the server goes, personal connections, I think, is where I feel I make the biggest impact. One on one is where I want to be. As far as like helping out individuals. I've had opportunities in my career where I've spoken in front of literal thousands of people.
Wow.
And it's cool. It's a great opportunity, but it doesn't have the impact as it does in a small group, right? If I can
Mm.
talk to 4 or 5 people at one point, or even one on one, I feel like that is where I'm able to have the largest impact and really understand where that person's coming from to be able to help guide them
Mm.
into, whatever future path that they want to take.
Wow. All right, Tapchi.
Yeah, I really like that because in a small group, you obviously absorb more info than you could in a larger group where people aren't as paying much attention at all times. So it's definitely an amazing thing to be proud of. So for my question, I think everyone's wanting to know, especially our newer members are enlisted, even some of our NCOs that don't know you as well. Um, what kind of brought you to the 24th? And from that point, like how did you advance from the 24th to who you are today?
Yeah, so that's kind of a funny story. So, I feel like, whether you kind of take on that official role or whether you're just kind of being a troll, I kind of started as like we'll call it a quote raider, but I really wasn't a raider. Like I didn't belong to any group. I had bought Onward and I'd gotten my Quest 2 many years ago, and I just like going into shooting ranges, and I would troll people, to be honest with you. That was like my favorite thing to do, and it was kind of like a release for me, right? Because my job and my life was so serious that when I
Absolutely.
get on to play video games, yeah, man, like I get on to have fun and release and just you know I think that was one of those nights I was kind of stressed out. Personal things were going on in my life that were completely out of my control, and there was nothing I can do. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go into a shooting range, and I went to a shooting range, and I went out to the 600-meter mark with a sniper rifle and Onward, and I just started mowing people down at spawn, and that was kind of like my thing, man. That's what I enjoyed to do. Everybody would shoot back, but they couldn't really hit me because I was too far. And I noticed that there was this guy, and he was being followed by a couple others, and he just kept coming down range, like walking towards me, and I just kept hitting him, dropping him. I must have hit the dude probably 15, 20 times. And he's very persistent. And usually when that happens is people come up and they they want to do a firefight. You know what I mean? They want to have a little
Oh
1v1,
yeah.
a little skirm. So, he approaches, I switch my loadout, and I'm getting ready to go into a firefight. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, my name is how would he go by at that point? His name is Vexize now, but
Oh, Deadshot.
Deadshot. There we go. Thank you. He
Mm-hmm.
went by, for
Shout out to
whatever
Deadshot, by
reason.
the way, if you're
Shout
watching.
out to Deadshot. Yeah, for whatever reason in the server he went by Deadshot, but his username is Vexize. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm Deadshot. I just want to talk to you for a second." I was like, "All right." He's like, "Do you know what a milsim is?" And I just started laughing. I was like, and not like in a sense of like what I later learned why people laugh when they hear milsim, but more like what? For me, milsimming is, all about like airsoft and like
Mm.
in real life, like role playing, right? Like that was the milsimming background that I had. And I've not many people know this, but I'm a competitive shooter in real life, and that's just something that I kind of was. That's what I thought he was talking about, and I was like, I mean, yeah, I know what a milsim is, and he's like, you know what a milsim and Onward is, and I was like, what? And he's like, would you be interested in joining? I was like, might as well, I'll give it a shot. I mean, I don't know what it is, but I'll kind of figure it out and see what it's like. And we went through the recruiting, station, and did our interview and everything right then and there. And I October 1st of 2024, I became a private beast, and it was it was an interesting journey, to say the least. Coming into like the server and not knowing anything about it. Like I had Discord before, but the only Discord the only Discord server I was in was like a server that one of my friends set up for like gambling and like stock ticker stuff. Like just kept keeping up on stock, the stock markets and trades and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
coming into the 24th Gladiators was one of those like shell shock moments where I was kind of like, what the hell is this? And then going to normal chat was just like wild. And I was out to Deadshot, aka Vex Eyes. The dude was working his tail off at that point, trying to meet a recruiting goal, and still to this day, I know for a fact he's the only one who's recruited the most people in this server. So shout out to him. Without him, we would be like somewhere around 42, 45 people short of what we are today. So, at that point I was just a number, but him and I, he was like my first like connection point, and he kind of like, in a way, even though he was much younger than me, it like took me under his wing a little bit and kind of showed me the ropes of what the Milsim was, and got me signed up for events, and attended a ton of his events, man. It was a good time, but yeah, it was an interesting journey. Those first few weeks, I'll be honest, I didn't think I was going to be here. I was like, well, I don't know, I don't think this is for me, but I'm glad I stuck around.
I am too.
That's amazing.
I think, yeah, I think
what
most
rank
of us
was
in 24.
Deadshot at the time that you got recruited?
Our rank system was very much different than what it is now.
It's more vague.
There was a lot more ranks. He was a senior NCO. I don't know exactly, but I know he was either in OCS or getting ready to go into OCS.
All right, because I joined a month after that, and I don't remember Deadshot at all. So that's interesting.
Beast, you've almost been here for a year now.
Yep, October 1st will be 1 year
Wow.
I've been in the
So,
server.
Wow.
I mean, we've had people obviously in the server been here for, ever since the beginning of it, but to see someone that has been here quite new for a general, and it's quite impressive to see someone go from, someone who just joined the server only, maybe 9-10 months ago, to become leader of the organization that they joined. So can you where I'm going with this is, I'm not just trying to, glaze you. I'm asking, like, what do you think helped get you to the place that you are today? Like,
Yeah, that's a good
if
point.
there's just like one set event, or if it's just the entire thing in general?
No. So before I really answer that, we just celebrated our 2 years. The Milsim being up and running and operational. Shout out to Mushy for putting on a celebration event. It's guys like him, guys like you guys who are doing extracurricular stuff that really make the server fun and make it more than just the Milsim. So shout out to you guys, and shout out to Mushy big time.
Thank you.
Of course. So to go into the answer, it wasn't one particular thing or one person. I again, going back to that first point that I made about connections, right? Personal connections and one-on-one. I had an opportunity where I kind of just showed up to events and acted professional. That was part of the expectations when in the rules and the regulations, and I guess I got on the radar of the right people pretty quickly. And I shout out to Deadshot again. He was, I know he was a big advocate of mine for promotions, and soon enough, I was, I had one-on-one talks with Easy Smalls, right? And like he wasn't technically the one IC, but he really was the one IC at that point, and he was the guy who was doing all the legwork in the server and keeping the server alive and maintaining it. And I mean, he brought that thing to explosive numbers. And I know you guys talked about it on the last podcast about, at one point we were trying to reach that 600 goal, and I mean, when I joined the server, there were like 400 some people in the server. And then they would just hit 500, and they were climbing from there. So, I had a lot of good people who took interest in me and wanted to hear what I had to say. There was one event that I had hosted, and there's kind of a funny backstory to it, but I had hosted a leadership training, and it was the first like leadership training that I had personally hosted. And back then we had like layouts, if you will, of various events. So if you were an NCO, you had a list of events you can do, right? These are like, they were like more like examples, right? That you can kind of go off of, so you didn't have to come off the cuff with stuff. But then there were also like standardizations, like what we're looking for, and like if you wanted to join like a CQB training, like these are things you have to go over, stuff like that. Well, leadership training had one of those. And I was looking over it and I was like, man, like this is good and all, but this isn't me, right? This isn't me. And I decided that I was going to write up a leadership training. That was the one thing I did as an NCO. Every training I did, like I wrote myself. I wrote it on like my phone and I would present it. When I was doing the talking piece or lecture piece of the training, I would be reading off my phone and talking on different talking points. And every event up until I became the general, that's exactly what I did. And that kind of set me apart from other people's events. But that leadership training specifically, I remember at the time it was shout out to Mouse. He I think he was like director of command or something of that nature. He was like some rector
Yes.
that we no longer have anymore. But he had joined that event and he loved it. I remember him DMing me after we jumped in VC and he was just like, hey man, like I love everything that you did, everything you said. Like you brought up some good stuff and like, I don't know if you're military or what. And I was like, no man, I'm not military. I just have a good leadership background, dude. And he put me on the map for that and he ended up giving me a coin, like a medal for that. And kind of set me apart from the rest of the dudes. But again, there wasn't anything, one particular thing or one particular person. It was getting the opportunity to talk with Easy and kind of be mentored by him because Easy's very methodical. He was very
Very.
it was one of those situations like he's very much so like him and I have a lot of similarities in the aspects of like how we approach strategy, right? And every interaction you have with Easy, he determines where you are with him, right? And it's similar with me, I mean? Like him and I are very different, but we're also very similar. And so I think he caught on to the fact that I was serious about this and like this was something I was passionate about and I really liked it. And I loved the community and I did learn to love it. At first I was like, why am I here? But I did learn to like love it as I grew into the server and grew into, learning from all the various, guys. I mean, there were guys who are currently on our command team that were dude, light years ahead of me as far as ranks go. And I really didn't even get on their radar until, as an NCO. And so and then learning from them and I with no milsim background, like I didn't know anything about milsims, and it kind of ties into when I took over. As when I see I didn't know anything about a milsim, and how to run a milsim, and kind of change the approach, if you will, on how we operate on a daily basis.
Yeah. I was just going to comment that when I first met you, I could have sworn you were military or something of the nature because you had the same like kind of methodical leadership tactics that of people that I've met that have been in the military. Like a good comparison is Willie. Shout out to Willie.
Shout out, Will.
You guys were similar. Like in my mind, like are these people the same or like what they do similar? I mean, but yeah, it was very very surprising of your background because we do have quite a few service members in the 24th. Shout out to them, obviously.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, thank you for your service, obviously.
Thank you for your service.
A Mouse, as you were talking about, he's another one. Hi, Moose. But yeah, it kind of gives like such as like the military just in general. It gives you the leadership like skills it needs. Like look at Willie, look at Mouse. They're all very methodical and high ranking and they contribute so much to the server. I mean, you don't even have to be military, but it damn it sure does help.
Absolutely.
But now we're going to kind of move into what sets you apart. Oh, you have a question? Did you want to?
Yeah, one thing.
Yeah.
So,
one moment.
I'm just gonna start by saying Beast is a pretty humble guy. But
Very.
when I first went into the server in November, let's just say I came in, the first training I attended, I believe, Beast hosted it, and it was one of your leadership trainings. And then I was like, okay, this guy's like really good at being formal, didn't stutter, had a very good speaker voice, and like really hone in on like keeping attention on him. And so I really took notes from that. Literally, like during the training, had like 3 pages full of a notebook just on like notes on how he presented. And then I went to a leadership certification, and I started going to all the certifications he hosted. Got certified and everything. And I was like, I think I asked somebody in the command team one day. I was like, who writes all these certifications? Because they're very well thought out. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you've wrote the majority of the certifications, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So certifications was a project that Deadshot and I kind of kicked off. You come in and you kind of want to change things and you want to do things a little bit, and some things people are all about, some things some people are not, and certifications was something that was backed by Easy, and we went through, and Deadshot and I, towards the end of his like main tenure here, got those up and running. So yeah, shout out Deadshot again, because he helped get get those off the ground, and so we can get those out to the to the server.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that was a really good point, Topsy. Moving on. So, I really wanted to know, and I'm hoping like some of our viewers that maybe even haven't or not in the 24th or maybe are lower rank, what sets you apart from our past leadership, such as Easy, Sexy, Pluto, those guys.
That's a great question, and there's not really. It's not necessarily that we all need to run it a certain way, and I think that's the beauty of it. I think the previous leaders were there for the reason and in the time frame that the season, if you will, of what the server was going through, and they were there and made the largest impact during that time. But we're all very different. And my tenure here, I've only really had the experience of working with Pluto and Easy.
Shout out to Pluto.
And yeah, and I think the hardest thing about running this milsim is maintaining burnout. It's very
Definitely.
easy. Yeah, it's very easy, and it doesn't matter if you're a general. Like, you could be an NCO, you can be an enlisted, right? You can get burnt out, right? And a lot of people, I hate to say it like this, but the fact is, the truth is, a lot of people burn very fast, right? They come in, they're highly motivated, they want to attend all the events, and then they become an NCO and they want to host all the events, and then they go through OCS and they hit warrant officer, and then they just crash and they burn. That's just the pure fact of it. We've seen it time and time again, and
Absolutely.
I'm
yeah,
a victim of it myself. So
yeah. I mean, it happens, man. And like, because you grind and you strive, and then you become a non-commissioned officer, and then you're like, I made it, and then it's like, but you don't realize, like, that's just the beginning of your leadership career right there within the 24th. Like, that is like you're like the private of the leadership team, right? The command team, and a lot of guys don't feel, it might be like a mental capacity of like feeling like they're starting over. It might be, they just grind it out until they couldn't go any further, but as far as like differences in the generals, I don't, there's nothing that I'm doing that I would say is very much different, except for, obviously I touched on the fact that I didn't have a milsim background, right? Easy was huge with milsims. He had known milsims. He had started milsims. He's been part of milsims for many years. Pluto, I don't really know his background as far as like milsimming goes, but he was a great leader. He was a very strong leader from what I heard, and he had the military background as well. And there's, again, burnout happens, and from what I hear, there was times that there was a time where Easy had to step back and he had to step down, and Pluto was that guy that he chose to take over the server, and Easy wanted to completely get out of here and just do his own thing, and rightfully so, right? And so Pluto stepped up, and then Easy came back as like a from what I understand, more like an advisor role,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you will. And then ultimately ended up kind of running the Milsim again, just due to personal things that Pluto was going through at the time. But I think the biggest difference between them and I is because I lack the Milsim experience and like understanding the operational standpoint. You can talk to any of the guys on the command team. I've stated it numerous times. When I took over, I changed the perspective of being from a milsim and shifted it to what I know and do best, which is business,
Mm.
right? And they're very similar in the operational standpoint, as far as like you had touched on, like organization and leadership skills and development and things of that nature. And then, I also made sure I surrounded myself around guys who have been in milsims for a long time, and I learned from them. I learned from, I've learned from Cole, I've learned from Zax, I've learned from Woodrow, I've learned from Milky, I've learned from, all of these guys who, I have put in these positions to help and guide the
Shout out to all.
milsim. Shout out to all you guys. They taught me a lot about operation of a milsim, and truly like being able to connect with, I'm gonna call it how it is, connect with the younger crowd, dude. I'm a lot older than you guys, and they taught me on like how to just connect with you guys and be able to kind of help make sure that whatever goals that we have up top, we're able to accomplish them and move them down low. So it's a very similar aspect with business, and that's my background. So that's what I did when I came in.
All right. Um. So yeah. I think that like for you personally and just for the server in general, like I mean, we had all those leaders who were just sticking on kind of the same path, and I mean, we weren't really going anywhere. But now, I mean, we're an entire community. We have the Dev VR branch, obviously. I think we mentioned that in the last podcast.
We did.
We're working on uh
But you're
I can
not
mention
also a lot. Yeah, we mentioned the first one.
yeah,
It's approved.
sorry. Oh yeah, okay. So we're also working on, and we're just going to. It's you changed it from more of a onward milsim to just a community on VR in general. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's really helped our expansion of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you don't mind, I'd like to touch on that.
Yeah.
Again, kind of going back to like the seasons, right? And the leaders who were in those positions. By no means am I the best general. I don't believe I am. I think if anything, that's a crowd vote, and even then, I really don't listen to the crowd on that. I think that, depending on the season, on where the game is, where the milsim is, all these leaders were put in place, and they all did a damn good job to making sure that we are where we are today. And Onward was popping at one point. Onward was it was a great game, and people loved it. And we decided to very strategically start shifting ourselves out of Onward being the primary game because multiple reasons. Obviously, the community itself has always been a good community. It's not as toxic as other communities. So shout out to the Onward devs and everybody who makes the big part of the Onward community. You guys
Absolutely.
are the ones who make it special. You know what I mean? You guys are the reasons why there are so many various groups, milsims, raiders, PMCs, there's all these different groups out there, and it wouldn't be possible if the game wasn't there.
Yeah.
Right. So, but given the recent developments that happened, I believe mid-June, early July, where the developer said that they were no longer going to be supporting the game, we knew that we had to make a strategy to continue with the milsim and make sure whatever we do, keeping this thing alive is the primary goal. And what do we do with that? So initially we thought about, going to one game, and we
Yeah.
we we were on various tracks to, take a vote on one game. And one night I was kind of just sitting there thinking, and um the things that keep me up at night. It was just thinking about, what do we do with this? What is something we can do? And I'm like, why limit ourselves to one game, right? That was my mindset. If we, 'cause we had Tactical Assault VR, we had Pavlov, and we had Onward, and I was gonna have the command team vote on one game, and we all were gonna shift to that one game. And I was thinking one night, why only one? Why don't we try all of them? Right?
Oh my God! Wow!
Right, and we've had servers in Tactical Assault VR, right? We've had our own like little startups, and we've given other people opportunities to lead those. And but the difference is like, and it's not a dig at any of those guys who have ran those servers. It's not this is not. I'm not saying any negative about them or how they run it, but it takes a very special group of people to be able to run and maintain a milsim. I mean, a lot of people will leave our server, and go start their own milsim, and a lot of them come back because it is a very tough task to do. It's not easy, and we made the bones of these servers. We've set them up, and we've given guys opportunities time and time again to run these branch offs, and they just failed. And so I was like, but what if we did this in house, right? We kept the same command team, and I believe we are as strong as we can be right now, with our command team, and what if we kept the same command team, and we kind of, I decided, Cole and I decided that we were going to move a couple people up into our high com. We call it stratcom, but our high com, and give them opportunities to run these individual branch offs within the main server, right? So we have Willie running Tactical Assault VR. We have currently standing, we have Cole and Milky, who are going to be working together with Pavlov. We have Zax, who's going to oversee Onward, and then it's going to be me kind of overseeing the entirety of the 24th Gladiator. So, yeah. So with that, we are planning and strategizing to make sure that we're setting the right people up and putting them in the right position so that we can get the right stuff done. So, crazy thoughts, crazy ideas, and we're the thing is like I would like us to the point that you had made earlier about, instead of just being one game, we're kind of like a gaming VR gaming community. That's, I mean, at the core of it, that's
Yes.
I mean, that's what we are, right? We're a group of people who like to get together and play video games. Like that is truly what this is about. And some of them, some people like the milsim experience, and so we continue with that theme, if you will. But at the end of the day, like, we like to play video games. We're in a video game right now doing this podcast. You know what I mean? Like, that's just something that we enjoy to do. And so instead of limiting ourselves to one, let's shout it out or grow it out to something much bigger than that. And I have much bigger plans than just those 3 games too.
Imagination.
So, with that,
Yeah, Top G, if you have a question for that. Yeah, sorry.
So obviously, we're all aware that Ready or Not's gonna be the next game that we're kind of releasing after TVR gets kind of on its feet. Who's gonna be primarily leading that?
So that'll be me. I'll be the one who oversees the operations of Ready or Not. Ready or Not's going to be our only console game, right? Our only flat game, if you will. As Cole had mentioned in the last podcast, I like what he said when he said that. So, there's currently, we're going through and testing what that will look like and the operation of it. I would like to see it be successful. They're going to have, each one of these games have their own hurdles. They have their own challenges that they have individually. And Ready or Not, the hardest part is going to be recruitment. So, we will have like the Ready or Not branch off of it, but I think it's going to be more along the lines of like a just for fun, non-VR style game. Kind of like when we have, actually, I don't even know if like most people know this, but the 24th does have like an official Minecraft server. Like we do have.
Does it really still?
Yeah, it's still there.
We'll definitely have to bring that back to.
Yeah, I mean,
needs to
it
have
gives
it,
people
yeah.
opportunities to play different games. You know what I mean, and within our community itself, and I think that Ready or Not's going to be one of those that we'll keep it milsim, you know, themed, if you will, but we
Okay.
will, it'll be more of a for fun kind of situation. I don't really see like,
So, what you
you
mean by
know,
like Milsim, based, or I'm sorry, what exactly did you say?
themed.
Milsim themed. Is that like the same rank structure and like having like subdivisions like we have already?
Correct. Yeah, yeah. So like being
Okay,
able to
gotcha.
maintain rank and even
Mhm.
personally I see challenges with like being able to get promotions within Ready or Not, and
Oh
like
yeah.
Yeah,
because you're kind of you're limited, right? I mean,
limited.
it's you're very limited. You can run operations and you can do certain things, you can do certain trainings and get people like MOSs and stuff like that, but it's not one of those games where you really can like, okay, we're gonna host a training, and after this training, you're gonna get promoted to XYZ ABC because you finished this. Sure, you can do that, but like an event report, for example, right? One of our
Gotcha.
key things that our NCOs do, like an event report for Ready or Not, would just be kind of tough to do. Just
Hmm.
basic things like
Yeah,
that. So,
Okay.
while again keeping it kind of themed towards the milsim, I think it's going to be more of a like a for fun kind of situation.
yeah.
Gotcha.
I could definitely see that because P-Town, interestingly enough, has a Radio
Hello,
Not service
P10.
right. Yeah, shout out to P-Town. Radio Not server up right now, and he's
Mhm.
kind of facing the same adversities where it's kind of hard to create an event report. Obviously, you don't have the same mobility as you have in VR where you can move around more freely. So you can't like
Mm.
do the basic things like salute, like those kind of things. That we're
Just
used
the
to in
just the
Armored.
minor details that
Yeah,
we kind of can't really take from
the
the current.
core minor details. Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Um. Well, I mean, right now, I mean, I've run out of things to say. We've kind of covered the future of the Milsim, as like you said, um, like in how like you plan to divert it, like with the umbrella and like the VR and Ready or Not, and eventually other games that we're going to incorporate. Um, but um,
I
do you
think
have a
we have
question,
one
Tapsis?
last. Yeah, we could have
Yeah.
one
Okay.
last question. Kind of
Moving
wrap it
on.
all up. So, what? Obviously, we know your purpose from previous experience because you've been general for a good while now. But going forward with this new branch offs, like TVR, Ready or Not, Pavlov, what's going to be your new like main point focus
Ooh,
and
good.
kind of what you see in the future?
Yeah. So, I personally have big plans for the server, and I'd like to see it through the end, and I would like for it to, I want, I would like ultimately, and this is sharing this very prematurely, and um, there's only a select few people who really know this, but
Ooh,
I would like the 24th to be like a video game brand, right?
gotcha. Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, that's the purpose of this, right? I want it, and I know it might sound corny to some, and previous leadership's going to have their opinions on it. I'm sure my DMs are going to blow up over it, but
Be nice to these
it's
people.
just yeah.
Glacier is hard.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, you different situations, different scenarios require you to adapt and you have to overcome, right?
Gotcha.
And I get a kick. I truly, truly get a kick out of the people who like don't check the server, they're retired or maybe they're not active anymore. And they jump in and the first thing they say in chat is like, this thing is still alive. This thing's still
Shout out
going.
to all of our retired
Yeah,
folks.
I've seen
You
Easy
know,
do that.
yeah,
It's funny.
yeah. I mean, yeah, not just easy. Like
They'll hop
Easy's
in DC
actually
once in a while, yeah.
Yeah.
he's actually the one. He actually, it's funny. He messaged me today and he was just like, "Hey man, how are things going?" You know what I mean? Like
Oh, that's
he's
nice.
the type of guy who I know
Wants to see
some
it
people.
succeed.
Yeah, he put a lot of
Well,
work
yeah,
into this, man.
yeah,
He put a lot
obviously.
of time and a lot of energy. Like, and he passed it off to me, and we I kind of made like a promise to him about like, keeping this thing going, and um he was a huge reason why we are what we are today. And
Gotcha.
love him or hate him, it is what it is. I mean, the truth is, you have to acknowledge that the dude did great things for the server.
Yeah.
And all the generals before him too did great things for the server. And um I'm hoping
That's the
that,
facts.
when my day is up, that I'm able to pass it off to somebody who's going to continue to do those great things for the server.
Yeah.
And, again, like kind of going back to what I was saying about the brand, it's not necessarily like, I would honestly like I've had crazy thoughts like, what if we have a milsim side and what if we have a non-milsim side? What if we have more like a role playing
Hmm.
side? What if we have more
Really?
of a,
That'd
yeah,
be
like,
interesting to see. I mean,
yeah,
I
it,
definitely
cool.
would see people being able to play in that, but yeah.
yeah, well, you got to think like you can reach, and I'm about to use a business term on you guys, but you can reach a larger demographic, right? Because we kind of
yeah.
limit
Ooh,
ourselves
fancy.
as a milsim. Yeah, we limit ourselves being a milsim to people who want to be in a milsim, but there are a lot of people out there who don't want anything to do with a milsim, and
Yeah.
why can't the 24th be, why can't they come into the 24th and be active within the 24th, and again have that gaming community, have that place to go, you know what I mean? Like, there are very few of those communities that are around, and the ones that are around that are really good are popping, dude. Like, and a lot of
Definitely.
times we see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it in like the main game servers, right, on Discord, right? Like Ready or Not server. Like, there's hardly ever not a time when there are not people in VC playing Ready or Not together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that is
Absolutely.
something. Yeah, and same thing with like, when Onward was popping, Onward, Tactical Assault VR,
Oh,
all
definitely.
these
Yeah.
games. And there should be no reason why we can't build ourselves to a point where,
We become that. Definitely.
Yeah.
we're a gaming community.
So,
I
like,
mean, that's
kind
what
of
we are
like
at the
to
heart.
like kind of simple that down, like make it so that like we are the game. I know that's gonna sound kind of weird, but like to where that we are the server, and that you can like join a VC and play Ready or Not with someone, or
Yeah.
like Pavlov, or kind of like how you just said, just instead of having it be like specifically the Onward server be our server. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Like, and at the end of the day, like, and a lot of people will use the word like, this is your server, you do what you want, da da da. But at the end of the day, like, I have my own personal server. Some of you guys are in there, you know what I mean? Like, and it's a dead server. Like, there's not much
Interesting.
going on. And it's because the people who are in the server make this server, right?
Yes,
Everybody
definitely.
from enlisted
Absolutely.
all the way
Shout out
up
to all of
are
our
the ones.
enlisted. Definitely.
You
Yeah.
love doing
You're
shout outs,
important.
He
We're
is a
important too.
shout out
We
fiend.
love the shout outs.
Dude.
It makes
Quote
people
me
feel
on
good,
that.
and I
with
like
the
that.
sign that shows up, it's just like shout out. And I hope when you
I
edit
know
this,
the
Exactly.
editing
can I
time.
say,
Oh my god.
Oh my
last
God.
time.
when you edit this and I go like this and say shout out, you should put shout out right there.
Yeah.
Because that's, I mean, golly, man. When I was watching the podcast, I was like, oh, how many shout outs are we doing, my dude?
We need like a shout
Yeah.
out
You
counter.
have to
in,
get
like,
a
the corner
credit
of
at the
video,
end
yeah.
just to cover all the shout outs.
And
Dude.
credits, yeah.
Do a shout out counter.
Yeah,
Like
please.
at the lower right hand corner,
I'd love
do
to
a
see
shout
that.
out counter.
Yeah.
That would be
Yes.
hilarious.
We
How
also
many
need to
shout outs
absolutely
Mercy?
counter. We said like absolutely like 12 times
Absolutely.
in this podcast.
And our NCOs too. Now that we're at it,
See?
why not?
All right. But going back to it, dude, like, yeah, there's no reason. Like, the people who are in the server are the reason why we are where we are, right? The every single person who jumps into an event, every NCO who hosts an event, every person who's in normal chat, who's in VCs, hanging out and talking and building that community, at the end of the day, like, you are the most important part of the community, right? And it doesn't matter your
Mhm.
rank, it doesn't matter what you do, your activity and how interactive you are with not only like in game but also in the server is what makes us what we are, right? And so yeah, everybody's back to school and people are going, getting out of school, going into careers, and we're in that little lull period again where everybody's kind of just getting used to that schedule,
Transition.
if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just remember that, like, hey man, like, after football games, after after school's
Talked to
done for
so
the
many
day.
NCOs about that.
Yeah, jump into VC, man. Have a good time. Interact with people. Have fun, and like you see people in there, just jump in there and just start talking. It doesn't matter. I mean, be obviously follow the rules and be, do
Yeah.
what you do, but have fun. I mean, you guys are the ones, like we do this. My love and everybody on the command team's love for this community is because of not necessarily the events that are put on, and not necessarily because of how many events we're doing and how many people we have, but it's about the interactivity of each other and just how
Community.
active people are
The
in
community, yeah.
That's
You've
exactly
said that
what
word
it
a few
is.
times now, and yeah, it's a really descriptive word of, I mean, the 24th just in general. I mean, we've always had a certain community kind of around this, like normal chat or just chat in general. I mean,
Right.
I think, I mean, any time of the day, I can just, take a look at, like, I'll peek in and see who's in normal chat, see if I should go, yap to
Absolutely.
them or not. And yeah, it's always great getting to see how people's day is going or what they're doing, or just maybe playing a game with someone. It's
Yeah, I've
just,
definitely talked to people who are kind of like just, I don't get along with people in real life and maybe not at school, but when I come here, it's an open community where people can have fun and hang out with each other and not be judged and not be discriminated against. And I think that's really why our rules always stay pretty similar, is because that's kind of our core structure.
I
At the end of the
agree.
day, is we
And I
want
think,
everyone to feel safe.
I think that's what makes it great, as we could have people from all different backgrounds, people from different parts of the country, as I mean, we have people
In the
from
world.
Switzerland, Germany, like all sorts. We have people from all over. I mean, I'm Canadian, obviously, if you haven't guessed already, but I mean, we have people from everywhere, and that's just what makes the server great. It's not limited to just like one type of person from one specific background. But yeah,
Absolutely.
any more questions, Top G, or anything to?
I think I'll just give like a brief overview of everything we talked about.
Yeah.
So, if you want to do that or me?
Yeah. Okay. So we just discussed basically, I mean, your role in the server in general, and basically just how, like, yourself, like how you personally have led the server from your own background and from, I mean, your time in the server. I mean, it's very impressive. And I mean, I'm not sure how long we've been yapping for already, but I mean, it's got to be at least an hour. So if we want to conclude this here, we probably can.
Yeah, so obviously we want to thank Beast again for coming on here.
Thank you so much, Beast. We're sorry it took so long.
Yeah, we're very honored. Cole, we miss you as host.
We miss
He's
you,
kind of
Cole.
off on a vacay right now.
Shout out to Cole.
We're happy to see him back shortly. So many shout outs. Also, special thanks to Foxtail for.
Yeah, Foxtail's our camera right now. You can't see him.
He's our cameraman. Can't see him, but dude, shout out to
Foxtail.
him. And thank everyone who's on the newspaper team, media team, command team. We appreciate all the work you do, and even our NCOs and our lower ranks. It really, everyone in the community contributes to some degree, and we appreciate that.
Do you have any closing remarks, Beast, you want to add on here? We've made you talk an awful lot, so don't worry. I'm not expecting it.
I mean, those who know, they know I can talk an awful lot. So, shout out to Cole. Man, Cole, dude. Man, I feel so bad for that guy. I'm not gonna get into that. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. And I guarantee you, he's laughing right. Like when he watches this, he's doing his little high pitched chuckle, his little high pitched Cole chuckle. That's what he's doing right now. The closing remarks. I'm just gonna say, we do this for the love of the community, right? I know that I've been using that word a lot, but it's truly what it is, right? And each and every single person here in the server, is the reason why we do this, right? We don't get paid. We don't, we take time out of our own personal lives to run this and to maintain this and keep it going. And without the people, the command team I've had around me, without the Stratcom team I've have around me, without the NCOs that we have around us, and the enlisted who are going up and moving up through ranks, we would be nothing, right? And so I just want to give a huge thank you to each and every one of you. You know, 24th. You know, it's just something that we just love to do, and we do it out of the pure love and joy out of our own hearts every day. You know, some days are good, some days are bad. You know, but overall, like at the end of the day, we love being here, and thank you, seriously, thank you, and just keep it up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the future has to hold for the 24th.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. I think to wrap it up, obviously you're gonna see more from us. So if you want to get notified for that, make sure to subscribe, turn your post notifications. And I was kind of cringy to say, but if you like having Beast on here, or like the way we've been kind of communicating, feel free to leave
Suggestions. We like suggestions.
suggestions
please.
in the
Give us
comments
something.
if you want. The TikTok will be right here. This little link, or you'll see just the basic username. You can search up. We also, like Cole said, we have a Facebook. I know it's pretty cringy. We do have a Facebook. You can look there.
I didn't know that.
And so
We
yeah,
have a
we'll see
Facebook?
y'all next.
What?
We do have a Facebook.
I didn't know that.
Did you not
What
see
are
that?
What
Oh
are
my
we,
God.
boomers?
90, yeah.
Yeah, I put on a meme. It was like, no. It was funny.
Oh,
I mean,
a little
I
shout
have a
out for
Facebook.
a next.
Jesus.
Oh, do you? Oh well, I mean, it's kind of a given, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm old. Yeah, I have a Facebook. Yeah.
a little.
I'm not
I
gonna
have
get into that now.
Facebook. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm a younger
Oh my
generation.
gosh.
I'm 15.
I don't have a
I
Facebook. Jesus.
It's more
but
like
a
for
little,
families.
Oh, is it?
they
Okay.
commu-
Next sneak peek of our next episode, we will have two of our 24th Command on that bring their own fresh perspective. Obviously, we've had Beast and we've had Cole on here, but for I think the new kind of perspective we're going to be giving on the server, or not on the server, of just the podcast, is we're going to try to get a look into the server from every angle. I mean, obviously we just had Beasts and we've had Coles, but we're going to get captains and majors and even enlisted we'll have on the server eventually. I mean, obviously, in the coming future, but we really want to give the people watching a corner into every little aspect of the server so that we're not trying to, brush anything under the rug, so you get the full, 360
experience.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
from the server. So thank you for watching, obviously. Just a little recap. I'm Mercy, Top G, and our very honorable guest, Beast. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.
See you next time. Bye.